Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new show.
Xavier used to be my boyfriend, then my fiance, and then my husband, so he's my ex-boyfriend.
We decided that we needed to spice this up. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Living with My Ex. I am a little bit disorientated simply because my wife's not here today, and but I'm gonna explain to you in a second what exactly is going on in that regard and why she isn't here. However, we have a lot to talk about today, and it's one of those days. But because of my disorientation, it's kind of my mind is kind of a little bit all over the place. I just wanna do something here real quick. Click that I just realized that I haven't started the other side of things. But it's cool. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, man. It is definitely Living with My Ex, and of course with myself and my wife Anka. And this is the podcast and the show where usually what we do is we have conversations about relationships, different things happening in and through relationships, and where we find ourselves today is a very, very challenging place because we have all seen, I think it was on Friday, something hectic that came out, and that's the topic of conversation is actually today all about. It's the tapes, ladies and gentlemen. They call it the Diddy tapes, and basically, if you haven't seen it by now, I don't know, man, if you've been living under a rock. But what I can definitely tell you for definite is that there's these tapes that came out, right, about P. Diddy and his ex-girlfriend Cassie, right? And what ends up happening is that she made, I think last year, around November, December, she went out and she actually made a whole thing about the fact that that he was abusive, he's beating her up, he's doing all these things. And he came out with a big statement saying that she's lying, it's not true, it's... why is this thing not working? It's far me, man. He came out with a big statement saying that she's lying, it's not the truth, he's gonna clear his name, and he's really gonna show and prove that this can't be the case, and she's trying to defame him, she's trying to make him look bad, and she's trying to just be that person. But eventually what happened was, when obviously people have been talking in and through the industry for years now, right? People have been talking for a long time that there's these like weird things going on in the industry, that these kind of toxic traits and stuff that's happening out in the industry that people don't usually talk about, or they try to cover up, or they try to hide. And there's been stories for years now that there were these parties that Diddy's been having all these years, and they call it freak-offs. And there's been these stories in the news and in the buys and buys, and obviously in the what they call the tabloids, that these parties have been going on. There's been kind of side jokes about, if you have been to a Diddy party, because they know. And then obviously when all this news broke, originally when Cassie came out with this news, then social media went buck wild. TD Jakes was pulled into it. I think we touched on that before. Of course, and afterwards Justin Bieber was pulled into it, Usher was pulled into it. All these different characters and all these different artists and celebrities and all these people were pulled into that space. And obviously people have been speaking about it for years. People have been, if you look at people like like Craig G. Lewis, that has been doing the truth behind hip hop. he's been speaking about these things for a long time, that there's some dark things going on in the hip hop industry. There's like some behind the scenes stuff going on that people don't talk about, that people don't really, cover and discuss. And, these guys have been trying to warn us, I would say, for a long, long time, that, hey guys, it's rough out here in these streets. You better, you better be able to decide more or less where you want to fit in, because if you're not going to do so, then, it's going to get to a place where you're going to fall for these things, and before you know it, your spirit is all over the place. You're all involved with funny things that you didn't even realize. And even as youth pastors over the years, we've so many times come and said that, listen, when we speak to our young people, we speak to the youth, we try and tell them about, please look behind the scenes, what's going on, listen to the reasoning behind the music, listen to why they're doing the music the way they're doing it, listen to all these different things as to what's really actually going on. And a lot of the young people even got to a place where they were like, if I can't, I just like the song, I like the beat. And the problem with liking the song and liking the beat is that there's a lot of like undertones and underlayers and a bunch of craziness going on kind of, underground, that people are not being, they're not savvy to, or they're not being shown, right? And the beautiful thing about everything that's happening now, and people have been speaking about it, is that a lot of the negativity and all the kind of, how can I say, the dirt and the gunk is starting to rise to the surface, right? And if you can remember, there was somebody not so long ago that came out with a whole big prophecy saying that there's gonna come a time in 2024 that everyone's gonna get exposed and things are gonna come out and things are gonna show what they're busy catching on and how they're busy doing things. And now we're really starting to see names being popping up and some craziness popping up, and people are really getting exposed now. But Mike, I have a number of questions, right? As to, I need you to come save me. I'm struggling.
I made it.
Did you make it?
I made it.
Did you rush?
I did rush, but I'm here. And I think that's all that's important right now.
Nah, definitely you made it. And I'm happy because I was trying to buy some time, but I was mumbling and I forgot to start the other live stream and the thing didn't want to open, and so I'm like, So I'm trying to like keep the conversation going, but at the same time trying to do the thing here.
Don't worry,
but
we're
anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I feel better now. Anka's actually here.
Oh, that's so sweet. I feel like, we can do this. Me and you are a team, right?
Yep. So my thing is this, right? I was just discussing now and describing to the viewers that obviously these, over the years, it's been spoken about and it's been kind of highlighted, and certain people have been throwing hints that there's all this nonsense going on behind the scenes in the music industry. And there's like pastors and people that's they've been trying to cover what's going on behind the scenes and what's going on in the music industry. And a lot of people didn't believe it. And in fact, what began to happen was that when Cassie came out, I think it was November or December, to say that this is actually what went down and this is actually what happened and this is how he was abusing me and this is how he hurt me and this is how the whole thing went down, people were saying that P. Diddy came out with a whole big statement saying she's lying, it's not true, he's going to save his name and all that kind of thing. Now, last week Friday, actually, the video came out, and this video comes out and they actually say that it happened in 2016 already, and it's just now coming out. So I have a number of questions. Number one, why is the video only coming out now? It's also then later on came out that Diddy went back to the hotel. He went to go pay people and he bought the footage because, he has influence. He has that celebrity status. He has money. So
money
he
talks.
so he could actually, dance his way around it. And he basically paid for it, right? But then the video came out. So then the video came out on Friday. What?
Clayton's message says the hidden truth, the chocolate-covered caca looking delicious from the outside.
Yeah.
Really, Clayton?
Remember, we used to preach about it. It looks like chocolate, but then when you bite it, it's other stuff. So here's the thing, right? That then eventually came out where The video was launched, the world saw it. If for those of you who haven't seen the video, she escapes the hotel room. He's running down the passage with a towel around his waist, like Calbors with a white towel around his waist. He's running down the passage chasing her. She tries to get into the lift. The lift obviously takes a long time to open. By the time the lift opens, he's there. He grabs her, he pulls her. She falls onto the ground. As she's laying there, he basically kicks her. He grabs some bags that fall onto the floor there. He picks it up and he kicks her. Like, he kicks her hard, like he's about to kick her a soccer ball or something. And he kicks her in the stomach and kicks her, and then he grabs her by the hoodie and basically pulls her around the corner. And then they argue somewhere else, and then there's a vase there, and then he picks the vase up and he throws her with the vase. And when that came out, did you see his apology video?
So I didn't see his apology
then
video.
He came out. Soon as that video went viral, people were talking about, CNN leaked the video, and people were saying, yo, this guy, he said she's lying, he said he's gonna clear his name, he said all these beautiful things. In the meantime, wow, easy video. And he actually incriminated himself even more by saying that, yeah, that is me, and I feel so bad about it, and I'm so sorry, and I'm trying to fix my life, and I asked God to forgive me, and blah, blah, blah. Then they start playing that Christian route. So there's a number of conversations that I want to have. Number one, the question is, where was this video all the time? Because surely somebody had it. Surely
Yeah, but I think a lot of people, when they eat out of your hand, they're going to do what you say. So I think there was a lot of money involved in trying to cover up things, and he has a lot of people under his influence, obviously, because I think that has been proven over not over a long period of time, but ever since, Cassie came out with all of the stuff. I mean, there's a whole thing with Wendy Williams. There's a lot of other things. I think Suge Knight also came out and said a couple of things.
Suge Knight strangely actually was defending P. Diddy to a certain extent.
I think he was. Yeah, he was, because of the industry. And remember, he didn't just, come up with all of the stuff by himself, but there was already people that were forerunners in this industry that did all of this stuff. Not negating that whatever he did was wrong and whatever he is doing is wrong. But there's a lot of money and stuff that's involved there, I think. And that's why people are like, if I'm going to be paid, then I'm going to keep my mouth shut because I've got a family to feed. And money talks. But for me, I think it's important to see that the woman that's been in his life and what they basically went through and what relationships entail when it comes to, this is famous mogul, this is a guy that has a lot of money, the glitz, the glam, you're offering a life. But what are you sacrificing in order to have that life? What are you giving up? Do you get what I'm saying? What is the cost for you to have nice things, to look nice in front of the cameras?
So here's the thing that I'm thinking. So obviously people were quiet. Like you're saying, people were eating from his hand. People were obviously getting paid or whatever the case might be. So they were quiet. Also, another thing is that a lot of people might have been involved as well. So if this thing comes out, I'm getting dragged along with it. I'm going down with this guy because now I'm involved, or I played a part in this thing or whatever. And so what they do is, when they have these freak-offs or whatever, they'll record the whole thing. So that's as a means to obviously blackmail you, to say that,
where have I seen that before?
Yeah, it's like a blackmail situation where it's like, yeah, if you're going to go talk, we're going to show that you were also here and you were also in the video and you also this and you also that. And so that's a kind of a blackmail move, right?
Kind of like an Epstein move.
Yeah, it is an Epstein move. That's why they're saying that is the Epstein of the hip hop industry. But here's the other thing, right? And I want to get into some toxic traits that we want to discuss tonight or today for people to check out for and look out for. And I want to cover some of these toxic traits. And it's things that happens. And because when you see that video, there's a number of questions that go through your mind. It's like, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just go? And we have conversations sometimes, or we counsel the people sometimes, or we talk where we can see them and this thing, there's something off about this relationship, but the person sticks around. I've seen growing up, like, people come to speak to my parents, the auntie was slani, so she even makes excuses for the guy. No, I fell, no this, no that. And in my mind, I'm thinking, why don't you just say, hey man, this is abusing me? Why are you so afraid to acknowledge? Why are you so afraid to admit? And then obviously Cassie came out later on saying, yeah, he threatens you and he threatens your livelihood, and there's all those elements. So people are scared to come out and talk and say what really happened, all that.
I think that's good and well when it's on that level, when there's a celebrity status and there's money involved. But when you're looking at layman terms, like for us in the everyday life, there's no money involved there really. And you find that women go back to their abuser. Women go back to the person that is basically mentally breaking them down, and that's where the crux of this thing is lying, because as an abuser you want to control. So what will you do? You'll mentally break down the person, you'll emotionally break down the person. Why? Because you want to control the person. And a lot of times women end up in abusive relationships, and mind you, not just women, I know of men that are in abusive relationships and go back and just try to maintain the peace. You know what, let me just not do that because I just want to keep the peace. And what happens is that they find themselves in a space where they don't see who they really are. They don't see their own worth, their own value, what they bring to the table, because they get told, "Hey, but you can niks nie."
But when the other person sees the loophole also, they're like, whoa, okay, so I'm getting away with this.
Yeah, then they
so
ride
let
it.
me ride it, let me make sure I exploit this loophole. But then later on what happens is, I want to speak a little bit about his apology, and I want to ask the question, is his apology real? Do you think it's one of those I'm not really sorry, but I'm sorry I got caught kind of situations? Because for me, number one is, and I was reading through the comment section about his apology, and he has a lot of supporters, people that were like, leave him alone, he's trying to fix his life, he's accepting God. There's a big challenge that I actually want to touch on.
What I realized, especially in American black culture, is that they support each other, regardless of what, because it's a black man that is in some sort of standing. They will support him to the ends of the earth, regardless of what his faults may be. And because he's a black man that made it somewhere, he's a black man that basically achieved something. That's the notion that they basically push. Regardless of what he's doing, we will support this man because he represents all of us. I sort of pick up that notion. Because I think we had a conversation, I don't know if Candace Owens touched on it, when we were speaking about Obama or somebody else, like if you had a president that he's not really the candidate, but because he's black, will you vote for him? And, there was a general poll.
Yeah, and people were like, yeah, just because he's black, we'll vote. Even if he catches on nonsense,
yeah.
Even if we don't really like him, but
so
it's based on race purely.
And because he did something, because the notion is always black men, especially in the States, they end up in prison or incarcerated or whatever.
But that goes back to the O.J. Simpson situation, because people knew that he did it, but because it was like they were upset because just
he was a man in sports and he was achieved.
There was that big cop killing and police brutality thing that happened like probably a month before that, with some big name as well, or it was basically like a George Floyd situation. I just can't get to the guy's name now, and because it was still in that kind of Black Lives Matter vibe, they were like, nah, we want him free. Even if he did kill we don't care. He killed a white woman.
I think
so then it starts getting to that.
But I think with the O.J. Simpson thing, and what contributed to that aspect is that it was a white woman. So it was like, look, why is this black man going to prison for a white woman? Whereas our man he's an achiever, he's a football player, he's all of that. So we're going to support.
Even if we know he killed her.
Even if the evidence
because
states
the evidence shows that he killed her.
Yeah.
And even when you watch because O.J. Simpson died not so long ago, and even when Piers Morgan had his lawyer on and the defending lawyer on, and the O.J. Simpson lawyer said, we didn't win the case, they lost the case.
Yeah.
So he technically said it's because you guys didn't do your work that we ended up winning it. And
because it was an open and shut case, essentially.
Then they asked, is it because there was a black jury? Is it because this? So he said, yeah, those things had a massive influence, and it's because that police brutality incident happened not so long ago.
Not just that, there was an incident where one of the lead detectives, in that specific case, one of the lead detectives fabricated evidence which he didn't need to fabricate, and he was caught in that lie.
And that's what that lawyer said. He said, you all made it bad for yourself.
Yeah, you should have just presented.
You should have just left it, and you could have won. Yeah.
Yeah, because they were sitting with it. Oh, this case, we're not going to win this case. But they basically just had to prove that specific detective wasn't a lie, and they won the case essentially, because then there was the element of everything. Can we believe anything you say if
you're lying about
this? Yeah.
So then what are we gonna say?
And I say essentially the burden of proof is not on the people who is being accused, but the burden of proof is from the people who is accusing. So basically, they just have to prove like a bit of doubt. But at the same, if we have to go back to P Diddy, right? I think it's more just the fact that it's a man of stature, like he has money, he has influence, and he's a black man, so we're going to support our people because they've achieved.
But my problem with that is, so when I watched the apology video, I didn't find it genuine. I didn't find it honest. I found that it was like I was getting the vibe that I'm sorry I was caught, because not so long ago you put out a whole big statement saying that the whole big statement talking about how I'm gonna clear my name, this B is lying about me, how can she say this, blah blah blah, with the full knowledge and understanding that he knows it. He knows he does it. If not just he knows, his bodyguards knew. People were talking about it for a long time. Everyone knows it. The whole Hollywood knows this is what happens behind closed doors.
Yeah, but the whole Hollywood knows that this is how the show is run, and in order to get somewhere, you keep your mouth shut and you keep it moving, because it's a cutthroat industry, and whoever falls off falls off.
And then they blackball you if they have power.
I'm assuming that you already greeted everybody that's in the comment. Okay, so let's just go ahead and greet. We've got Fabio Khan. It says, good morning, bro. Hi, Shami was by himself, but I'll say good morning too. And then there's Nikita, good morning, family. And then also we read Clayton's comment, and then he said, too little, too late, which I'm assuming is towards the apology. And Domain says that, morning team, 50 Cent don't support Diddy, he exposes him even more. That is true. There is quite a few celebrities that did come out and say, especially black men who are celebrities came out and said, no, that's why certain things were cancelled for us, because we didn't agree with certain things and we didn't roll with that. And that's true. I mean, it's a very sadistic kind of world that they're basically in and try to get involved in. And for what? For fame, for the glitz and the glam.
Look, as a Christian and as someone that represents the word of God in the office of a pastor, I get very annoyed when P Diddy comes out and uses that whole Christian card.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
It's irritating, especially when you can see it's not genuine, and especially when you can see, now someone might sit there and say, how do you know it's not genuine? Bruh, you can't sit there and say, I'm asking God to fix my life. I know I effed up, and it's like, how do you use vulgar language and all that in the same sentence as you saying that you're trying to fix your life and you're asking God to help you and this? But just 2 months ago, you were saying, I'm going to show her, I'm going to take her to the cleaner, she's lying about my name, I'm tired of them lying about me. Now the video comes out, now you want to play the God card. And for me, it's like, if you really are truly genuinely sorry, and if you really are truly asking God to help you, and you really are truly going that direction, then by all means, God is there for you. God is there for everyone who needs forgiveness and everyone who wants forgiveness. But if you're going to play the God card just because he was nog gevang en die hele wereld kan nog sien wat jy aangevang, now you want to come play that God card, it's like, nah, G.
Yeah, and I think for me,
the comment says, too little, too late now.
For me, I think what's upsetting is the fact that it makes us as Christians look insane. It just makes us Christians look crazy. Oh, you wanna live in the kumbaya world? No, being a Christian is not that easy, and being a Christian is especially in today's world is difficult. But when it's convenient, then we have certain people pulling that card and saying, oh no, I'm changing my life. But here's the thing: change does come. Change does come with Christianity. However, true repentance brings about change. And you will see it. It changes everything about this person: lifestyle, ways of talking, ways of addressing things. It's not just, it's a once-off thing when I make a statement. It's a lifestyle, and you can see it, and you can say, oh, okay, this person really has made a change. Or he'll want to appease or try to rectify it and say, okay, fine, let me reach out to Cassie and see what can I do to rectify, remedy the situation. None of that has taken place. He wants to take it to the cleaners to say, yeah, it's what defamation of character, what. But if you really wanted to remedy the situation, which is Christianity, which is true change, you would have said, okay, fine, what can I do to say, okay, fine, let me compensate. Let me show them that I've really changed. And that takes time. It doesn't take an apology, a 5-second video.
Now, so I want to jump into some of the traits, right? And we counsel often, and we speak to a lot of people, and we've been in this space for a long time. But I want to jump into some of the traits, right? One of the big traits is constant criticism, right?
Yeah.
And maybe just check out here, right? Do you have your glasses?
Hashem, I'm not that blind. One partner consistently belittles, demeans, or criticizes the other, undermining their confidence and self-worth.
So that's one toxic trait,
And
right?
I think it's important to think about that, to spend a bit of time on that. Because a lot of the times when we're in a relationship with someone, it's important to note that we should want to build each other up. We should want to see the better part of each other come out and say, baby, I see you can sing. You can. Or I like this about you. It's constantly mentioning things that I like about you. But deal with the stuff that that you don't really like, that causes tension or contention between the two of you. But deal with it and speak with each other properly. But if I'm going to tell you, yeah, why are you always like this? Or I don't like that. Oh nee, kan jy nie 'n bietjie iets anders doen met jouself vandag? Jy kan bietjie jou hare of iets. That's belittling. And that breaks down your confidence little by little.
Now, so that is one of the big toxic traits. Let's check another toxic trait.
Is the lack of trust. There is a pervasive atmosphere of suspicion and doubt, with partners consistently questioning each other, others' intentions and actions. Do you want us to go through this, like, go a little bit into it, or just mention it?
No. Let's go a little bit into it,
'cause
especially the interesting ones.
Okay, is that interesting to you? I'm just trying to find out.
So, for me, I think we had this conversation not so long ago. The story of wanting to check people's phones and wanting to, be all up in someone's grill the whole time. That lack of trust. To me, I could never understand that, because I think we had this conversation with a different couple not so long ago, where I was like, I don't care who you're speaking to. It's not it's not that I don't care. It's more
don't
so
say that you don't care.
Nah, it's not that I don't care. It's more that I trust you to the point where it's like, I'm not gonna go and look who's that, who sent that message.
Here's the thing.
Why? Who's this? It's like,
I think
bruh.
it becomes a thing that if I'm having a conversation, but I'm deleting the messages. Do you get what I'm saying? Now you're like, I saw a message
Why
come
are you
through, but now
deleting
it's
the
nothing.
stuff?
Why are you
Why are you
deleting?
dodging? Why are you hiding? Why are you turning your phone upside down?
Or and we've had this conversation before, that at any given time, if your phone is flat, and 90% of the time you have my phone when we're busy recording or something, or we're like, even like last night, you were busy doing things on my phone because you couldn't find your phone. Your facial recognition opens my phone, vice versa. It goes the same way. Or if my battery's flat and your battery's flat and you need to go out, then you take my phone and Bob's your uncle, we go on with our day. Why? Because, and you can go through my messages if you want to. It's there. The option is there. But there's no need to want to do it. To say, who's this? This name looks suspicious. What were you guys having a conversation about? None of that's there. So it's not a matter that you don't care, but it's that you trust the other one enough. If I start acting shady, now the interest is piqued. Why are you acting shady? Why are you closing your phone? Now you're like, okay, now we've got trust issues here. But if it's a matter of, baby, where are you at any given time? I know where my husband is. Not because I'm stalking him, but because we have conversations and tell each other, okay, look, baby, this is the plan for the day. Okay, I'm leaving now, whatever. Go for the lunch or whatever. I'm going to have lunch with so-and-so or whatever. But it's a casual conversation. It's not to check in on each other. To sort of like keep tabs.
And even if you don't know where I am, it's not a matter of like, where were you? I tried phoning you, didn't answer. It's not like that. It's like, hey, brah.
Yeah, but more often than not, especially if there's stuff that is out of character. Like, I know that there was one day when you didn't have a phone or something, or you left your phone in the one car. I don't know what was the situation. And usually by a certain time, I'll be home, especially if I'm with the kids. That specific day, I made a stop at a friend, but there was no communication because we couldn't. But now you're worried. It's 7:30. It's dark. I'm with the kids. You worried. Where's my wife?
And you didn't say where you're going.
I didn't say where I was going.
And
right?
you was, in my understanding, you coming home.
Yeah.
But now it's like 4 or 5 hours down the line. I'm like, hold on, why? What? I don't understand.
So I'd be worried if there was no concern. What if something happened and there was no concern?
That's what I'm thinking. Hey, was there an accident? Did something happen? For all I know, hijack. Anything can happen. We stay in Joburg. But you're not saying where you are.
And it's
A
not a
message
matter
says,
of,
"Hey, I'm going to so and so's house after this." Then I know, okay,
let
sharp,
me
you're
know
there.
where you are to keep tabs so that because that's what we care about each other. But it's not a matter of met vivace. I saw you drove 3 kilometers extra than the route requires. Like,
Bruh, you know,
no,
we laugh about that. People really
people
actually
really
do that.
do that. Or send me messages and put this in front of yourself so I can see that it's not an old picture. It's like a recent picture. And it's like, whoa, wait, that's a different kind of crazy out
Yeah,
here.
I think that's toxic. Let's check another one there.
Then there's manipulation. This is a big one for me. Manipulation is when one partner uses guilt, threats, or other manipulative tactics to control others and get their way. This for me is just a no. I had a conversation with someone a while back, and a close relative of mine, and I said, and I know that this person operates with this manipulative, like with anyone that they come into contact with, and I not anyone but most people, and my words were to this person is that I understand the language, but I don't speak the language. I don't converse in this language. Why? Because manipulation for me is just a big red flag. You want to manipulate the person to do what you want, to get what you want, no matter what the cost, no matter what the ramifications might be. And for me, that's just a no.
Yeah, so manipulation for me is also a big thing. Like, and especially when I can sense that you're trying to manipulate me. When I shut down. When I see that you're trying to manipulate me, you're trying to force something, or I'm like, bruh, I'm not gonna fall for this. I can see what you're doing, and I'm not gonna fall for it. Or that, in fact, the quickest way to really irritate me is if you're gonna try that manipulation tactic. I had a situation, and it's not even sometimes just with relationships between a guy and a girl. It's more even sometimes even friends can manipulate each other.
Yeah.
So I had a situation not so long ago where this friend basically wanted something out of me, and I couldn't do it. And then they were like, yeah, if you don't do this for me, then I'm not going to do that for you. I'm like, whoa.
You know what? Keep it. I don't want it.
Whoa. That is now you manipulating me. Because our friendship is not based on tit for tat. If I can't do something, you're gonna hold it against me. That's manipulation.
And in the Christian sphere, that's witchcraft. And when you manipulate someone, you're operating in an area of witchcraft, and we don't operate in those areas. For me, manipulation is just a no. In order for you to get something, you're not going to put me into a corner. In order for you to get something, but if you value me as a friend, you will see that you will take note that I have taken it into account. I have weighed the options. I said, okay, fine. Wait, no, this isn't going to work because of A, B, and C, and not because I simply don't want to do it.
Yeah, but I remember when I was a kid, I was riding a bicycle, and I'm going to say friends in inverted commas, air quotes, because somebody helped me to fix my puncture, right? With, the patch and the solution and the whatever else. And then they wanted to ride my bicycle. I was a kid. Then he wanted to ride my bike. And I didn't want him to ride my bike. And then he was like, oh, I'm going to puncture your tire again now. And that was the first time. I still remember that. And I was a child, was taking club spray. And I still remember that day. And I remember the feeling that I had in my gut. I'm like, this feels dirty. It feels gross. It feels like, oh, so is this how you do things? You're like, you do things for someone, and then if they don't want to do something for you, then it's like, okay, now I'm going to undo my thing. And even when it comes to gifting somebody, you gift someone something, and then you want them to do something for you later on. That's not true love. That's not. And if we go back to the P. Diddy Cassie story, I'm pretty sure there was a bunch of manipulation involved in there. I'm pretty sure that even when you hear about the Justin Bieber story or the Usher story, it's like, if you do this for me, I'm gonna do that for you. I'm gonna buy you something. I'm gonna give you this record deal, and behold your soul if you don't do it, because then they take the record deal away. You get what they call blackballed. Your industry doesn't want to work with you.
They signed NDAs, right? Which means that they're not to disclose anything. It's a non-disclosure agreement.
So that in and of itself is already manipulation.
However, if you don't do what I say, I've got this. I've got this above you.
And that's the whole point of...
you're not allowed to disclose.
But that's the whole point of taking those tapes and recording somebody in a compromising position.
Yeah.
The whole point is to hold it over your head
So
as a form of manipulation.
I'm sorry, but there can't be no manipulation involved, because are you specifically doing that so that I can control you? I'm specifically allowing certain acts or coaxing you out to do something so that I can tell you, you see now, ne? You are going to do this, whether you want to. And it's heinous stuff. It's disgusting and creepy stuff that is expected of these people. And people do it. People do
People
it. They
do
find
it, and
themselves in
I'm
these
surprised to see
situations.
people actually do it. Like when I heard that they actually did it, I'm like, but why are you doing it? Now you want to complain afterwards that this happened and that happened, but you did it.
I think it's an
There
element.
was no, like, look, when you look at even the comment about 50 Cent, there's an element of, I don't want to get involved, I'm not interested, I don't care, I'm out.
Yeah. But I think what
Your
happens,
integrity can say, I don't want to do this,
I
even
think-
if I must go struggle, it's fine. But I'm not going to do
I think
this.
with a lot of people, what happens is it happens over a period of time. So the people get manipulated and get desensitized to an extent where you don't really think there's anything wrong with it. You feel that there's something wrong with it, but it doesn't bother you as much because you've progressed to that stage, to the point where you're like, and then you get to a point where you're like, oh wait, that really wasn't that great, and then you have kind of remorse. But by then it's late. You've already progressed gradually. It's like, the frog example that I always use. Put the frog in hot water, he's going to jump out. But if you're going to put the frog in the water and heat up that water slowly, by the time he realizes the water is too hot, it's too late to jump out. So it's a period of time that it takes place. Then we have isolation. One partner discovers or prevents the other one from maintaining a relationship with friends, family, and others that support other support systems.
That's also a big one that we've seen. We've personally seen those ones.
Yeah, I've seen those ones.
When you start isolating someone from their friends, isolating someone from their families, it's a manipulation tactic as well. It's a toxic tactic as well. Where now I don't want your people here, I don't like your people. Because what you're trying to do is you try to isolate them so there's no outside influence. So that somebody from the outside can't see that. Because like you're saying, again, back to the frog example, when I don't have it, that's why I wanted to move to the next point quick. When the person has other outside influence or other people saying that, hey, can't you see this? Because the frog example is if you're in a particular situation for such a long time, you don't even realize that the situation is getting out of hand because you've started becoming accustomed to it. Thanks, Lord. You started becoming accustomed to the fact that, no, this is how it is. Because 5 years down the line, 6 years down the line, you're still in that toxic situation. You don't even realize that you've become used to this toxic situation. It's like being in a room. It's for example, being in a room that stinks. Né? You don't realize it's stinking. Né? Because you're
we
in
had
it.
a frog example. Couldn't we just stick with that?
Because you're in it. Then you go out, you spend 10, 15 minutes outside. When you come back in the room, like, but it must stinks in here. And then it's like, I'm sure everyone had that scenario happened to them before. When you come in and you're like, but eintlik dat stink mos hier binne. Wie het nou wat gemaak hier? Because you don't realize that after a period of time, you start becoming accustomed or adjusted to the smell.
I think for me, a lot of the times, especially when people are in the dating phase, they basically they want to spend enough time with you. They'll meet your family, they'll spend time with your family, but once you're in the situation, then later on they're like, no, I don't want anything to do with that, or I don't want to be around this person, or I don't want to be around that person. And you start like to keep the peace or to just to make them feel comfortable, whatever, you start avoiding certain family members. And a lot of the times, those are the family members that support you. Those are the family members that's there beyond a shadow of a doubt. And they're there to tell you, look, watch out for this. Careful for that. And because that person doesn't want that influence, they isolate you from that. And the toxicity of that, you will find yourself in a place that is lonely. Is nie 'n lekker plek om te wees nie.
Alright, another big one is jealousy and possessiveness. Right?
Yeah.
Do you want to give us the
I think
the breakdown?
jealousy and possessiveness jealousy and possessiveness goes hand in hand with the isolation vibe, because you want this person's sole attention. You want to control this person, and you want to be, the only thing this person sees. And the challenge with that is, if you're in a relationship where someone can't look at you, like, you don't have control over the fact that other people are looking at you. But the person will have an argument with you because why is the person looking at you? And you're like, I don't know why. There must be an element where where the person that you're with must be proud that other people is looking at you because they're like, yeah, man, ek het reg gekies. This is my person. This person is coming with me because you give your person the security. But when there's an element of, yeah, moenie daai dra nie because people are going to look at you, or you're not allowed to wear that, or you're not allowed to go here because people are going to see you, it's a matter of why are they so insecure? I'm asking the question, are you doing the things that you're accusing me of? Are you worried that I'm going to be, looking around because you are looking around? Is it because you think like that you think other people also think like that?
So for me, I always said this, and a lot of times when I tell this to people, they don't believe me or they think there's something wrong with me. When I'm walking in the mall with Anka and the guys are looking at her, it's a flex for me, right? Because that means that my wife is good looking. That means that I've chosen well. That means that she's attractive. And because if I'm doing these things and nobody cares and nobody looks, I'm going to start questioning myself and asking now, is my wife now so ugly that she's not even attracting attention here, bruh? It's like, There should be a red flag to you if nobody's looking at your wife. Because my thing is this, if she's good looking, if she looks fancy, she's young, she smells nice, obviously other men are going to look. But I could never understand that in the world, right? Where you find guys fighting in the club and you find guys fighting and this and that in wherever or in the mall. Hey, why are you looking at my girlfriend? It's like, bro, what? I don't get it. Why are you getting angry? That literally means your girlfriend's good looking. You should be proud. You should be like, this is my girl. I'm going home with her. She's mine. It's my girl. She's with me. There should be a sense of pride, like, for you. It shouldn't be a situation of like, hey, now you want to go fight every guy that looks at your girl. Unless there's a situation where she entertains the topic,
yes,
she entertains the conversation. There's that dynamic. Then you can come out and say, whoa,
but then there's
on.
a conversation to be had with each other to say, but maybe you entertain that.
Yeah, you can't go fight every guy.
Because they looked at your girl, whatever. I'll never forget. I was at an event and I was in a relationship at the time. And we were standing at the kiosk trying to get some cool drinks and stuff like that, and someone walked up and they started just having a chat, obviously because they didn't know I was with somebody, whatever. And the guy I was with sort of like just interjected.
This is before me, ne?
Yes, explain there was someone
I'm just
after
checking,
you or while I was with you. I'm just asking, And he interjected, but he showed himself between me and this other guy, and he looked over his shoulder and he said, "Beskermde wild." And I was like, I was so young at the time. I was like, okay, like.
Are you now wild?
No, to say that you're not allowed to go out hunting or whatever. This is off guards or whatever, because men are known to hunt. But thinking about it in retrospect, it's actually funny, But because
maybe I should use that one.
Because I knew that the way it was meant wasn't like in a funny joke where like, she's with me kind of vibe. It was like, ons twee gaan op 'n klei, so it was like that, But
I don't understand. You said you were the ugly duckling, but are you saying the boys were fighting?
No,
about
it was well into my late blooming years. So, I shame I was a late bloomer, and you should thank me, and you should thank the Lord I was a late bloomer. Otherwise, yeah. But anyway, moving along, I think there should be an element of where you want to protect, but wanting to protect doesn't mean that you're jealous or that you want. I think we had a conversation not too long ago with someone, and they're like, yeah, I want that little bit of an element where I feel like he's a little bit jealous because but a healthy sense of jealousy. I don't know if there's something like a healthy sense of jealousy. I'm not sure, but yes, women want to feel protected. Women want to feel like my man seen the. I saw he comes down. And I know that I know you do subtle things, like when we're in the mall or whatever, and someone is looking, then you have this thing where you want to hold my hand. But it's to say, hey, says die samen, you can cake. Must say samen.
Nah, we were walking in Chinatown not so long ago. And this bro, he was like this.
But I didn't even see that.
He was like looking at your palms. He was like,
okay.
So I went like, then I walked behind you. I was like, yeah, bruh, how does this bounce look?
which is a
Look at us, Bums.
which I think is
You must want to look at Bums now. Yes, Bums, for you to look at.
and that's a healthy way of protecting the person that you're with. That's a healthy way of protecting the
Because I literally
relationship that
saw
you're
him,
in.
and then he looked at me, and he saw that I saw him, and he was like,
And here's the thing: when I'm with Xavier, then I lose all sense of whatever. Like he even gets upset. Gee your phone hier. So jy vat so lank om uit die kar uit te klim. Like, and when I'm not with him, I'm very aware. I know my surroundings. I know who's around me. I know where I've put my phone. I make sure everything is. But when I'm like, okay, because the person who's supposed to protect me, he's here. He's got me. You know, you have that sense of, and it's like a natural mechanism that just switches on and off, and you get irritated. You're like, is she alright? Is she alleen na us? Like,
yeah, that's what I always ask you, because I'm like, bruh, get out. You're sitting so long in the car. Okay,
moving
another
along.
big one is verbal
Yes, verbal abuse.
and mental abuse.
Yeah, verbal and emotional
Emotional
abuse.
abuse.
And I think a lot of that goes in with manipulation. A lot of that goes in with the isolation. Because what are you gonna say when you're gonna isolate someone? What are you gonna say when you're manipulating the person? Yeah, don't go there. If you go there, then then you're not gonna find me here when you get back. That kind of vibes.
That to me is so foreign. It's so foreign that I cringe when I like see people do it. I'm like, bro, why are you doing it?
I think, and we've had this conversation not too long ago where it's like you find it weird when people say or do something because it's never crossed your mind. When it's like of a devious nature, then you're like, but I don't think like that. So when you
I don't
see
expect people to reason that way,
yeah, and so
because
when
I'm
it
like,
happens, it's like
why?
cold water in your face because you're like, whoa, people think like that. And I think in the space that we work in, we are privy to a lot of things, and you're like, whoa, things that we thought should be second nature, things that we thought, okay, but this is the natural pattern of things, is not like that for everyone, because they weren't raised in the same atmosphere that you were raised in. They weren't raised with the same morals and values that you were raised in, and their home environments are different. So when they think differently, it's not because they specifically want to think differently, but they don't know anything different because that's how they were raised. That's the environment they were raised. They are a product of their environment. So when you come into that atmosphere and you're like, whoa, I'm a bit like a fish out of water. I don't know this. It's kind of like, whoa, wait. Like I've been under a rock.
Nah, but we've told people before that, nah, bruh, I don't do that. Then they're like,
Huh? Yeah. It's
so
like,
don't you get jealous? I'm like, no. Well, I get jealous.
because I
But it's not the jealous that you're talking
Yeah.
about, where you want to fight people and that. It's more like like I guess there is like a healthy jealousy. It's like, it's more like yeah, this is my girl, you know. It's like, yeah.
But that's not jealous. That's making the other person jealous. That's not making you jealous.
Yeah, but even in that way, it's not like now someone gonna like someone gonna now kiss you in front of the people to show, yeah, this is mine. It's like not that level of that. To me, I also find a bit toxic.
No, that's not just toxic. That's just cringy. That's just like, no, eet julle mekaar op hier in die publiek, because it's like, whoa. I think we had a situation like that where we were in a vicinity, and this guy and this girl came in, and then she was like,
She was
yeah,
like hanging on him the whole
and it's like-
time and kissing him and everyone's like, all right, guys, we here in this
But
space
I
here.
think what
It's not
that does
necessary
is
to
it
care.
screams insecurity.
It does, yeah. It makes you look
Yeah.
weak, yeah.
And I think for me personally, what's attractive for me is the element of confidence. So and I'd like to think when people see us, they see we are secure in our relationship. We're secure in who we are. Because I know this is my husband, this is the love of my life, this is the man I married, I chose, this is the head of my house. So when I go, ek soek my man langs aan my, right? But it's not that waar ons nou moet in mekaar inklim en in die jackets inklim or whatever. But we're there to show each other. We show a united front and we support each other. However, it's not that way. Jy moet nou my hand hou sodat almal kan sien ons is getroud. Or ons moet nou mekaar soen sodat almal kan sien ons is lief vir mekaar. It's like, no, what's happening back at the ranch? I'll start questioning. You're zoning out, Mr. Sir.
Nah, I'm waiting for you to get done so we can go to the next point.
Wow, I was that boring. Arme ek. And then there's the physical abuse and lack of communication.
So the physical abuse brings us back to the origin of our conversation. The fact that the whole world saw on a video how this man is kicking this woman like he's kicking a soccer ball. And it's just I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm not, I'm not used to that environment where I can't understand why women will subject themselves to that. I mean, for me, Cassie, since that time when she was doing, I think she did that song. I don't know what. I think I'm
Me going
gonna
out
make
here,
a move. Something about making a move or something like that. And then there was that one song that she did that was also very like, yeah. I remember I was in high school that time, and it was very, very like overly sexual. I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. She was wearing basically nothing, and
But that's the industry
but I was like,
to
yo,
make
this is a
money.
good-looking woman. So now P Diddy is an old timer, and is not, bruh, subjectively is not good-looking.
I think that for me that's an objective opinion because I'm just saying it's got nothing to do
Or
with
did I say
looks.
subjectively, objectively? He's not good looking. Now I understand he's rich and he has all this influence and that. But I'm talking about just looks wise.
Look,
He's not a good looking.
my
Oh,
bro, we've had this conversation multiple times, and I think when we were doing the Gap Fest the one day we were doing the Tinder Swindler, there ain't no such thing as an ugly billionaire. So it's got nothing to do with looks. It's what you can provide. And a lot of the times when people find themselves, and depending on the environment that they were raised, especially when they come from a certain disposition, those things don't matter. Those things are trivial. It's a thing of can this person provide? Can this person provide so that I can be able to provide for my family or whatever? All of those things go out the door. You don't think straight anymore because you're just trying to provide. You're just trying to put food on the table, or and then later on you get used to certain things and you just want to keep that going, that
but
lifestyle
Anka,
going.
there's other good looking Owens in the industry. There's other successful Owens in the industry. There's other
Yeah, but
guys in the industry.
do they walk with that swag? Do they walk with that? I've got this, and when I say something, it happens. Remember, when these women get into these relationships, they don't get abused into the relationship. They get invited cunningly into the relationship. By the time they're there, then it's too late. Then they're being abused. Then they've already agreed to certain things, and now it's too late because it looked inviting. I mean, what was that thing that you like to watch, that movie that you like to watch now and again? You haven't watched it in a while. Maybe I shouldn't mention it because you're going to make me watch it again. Temptation, right? She gets invited and it looks nice. The grass looks nice. The screensaver looks nice. And by the time you move the mouse, it's too late. Other people are affected. The collateral damage is done. So now you just have to go along with it because you're here now. Ag, ek is nou maar hier, kom ons gaan maar aan. That's what the situation is.
Nah, but that is it. But I'm saying she's such a good looking woman. She was already in the industry. She could get whichever guy she wanted. It's just, I don't know, it makes me wonder
So
how
for women, and I think it goes for both for men and women, there's a lot of things that is basically entailed there. It has to do with where you are emotionally. How do you see yourself, your self-respect, your own sense of empowerment? Where do you see yourself? And a lot of that, you get introduced to a beautiful world. You get introduced to a soft life. You get introduced to a certain life that comes with certain benefits. That's what you get introduced to. And by the time you see what the consequences are, it's too late. So none of that other stuff matters. I think there's a slew of things that happen and that take place for you to be desensitized towards that outcome. Then by the time as jy jouself kan kry, dan is die ding lelik.
What's our last point there?
I think that was our last point.
I think there was another point where.
Codependency and dishonesty.
What's the definition of codependency?
So if I depend on you, one partner becomes overly reliant on the other for emotional, financial, and social support, leading to an unhealthy dynamic.
I think that's what happened there. Yeah.
Which is what I just explained, essentially. And I think for me there is a dependency. You know that I'm very clingy. But let's look at this morning, right? We both have to do something. Both of these things need to be done. But can we count on each other that you've got this, I've got this, and then we'll meet up somewhere so that we can get both things done? Naturally, I would want us both to do that together and this together because it's just, you've got this. But at some point, we're going to have some kind of interdependency, like not a codependency. I solely depend on you to get this done. Because if you're not there, it's not going to get done. Now you get the elements of manipulation. Now I've got control over you. because you depend on me for everything. Ek moet jou kom vra vir broodgeld. Ek moet jou kom vra vir my needs at the end of the day. But if I don't do as you say, or I upset you, or I slightly like...
I can manipulate the situation.
I can manipulate the situation. The last one is dishonesty. And lies, deceit, or hiding important information from each other may erode the trust and create a foundation of dishonesty. There's no place for lies in a relationship. Why am I not telling you the truth? Why am I not telling you what I'm going to do today or what? Look, I think there is an element of a white lie. And when I say that, I mean, like, if I'm trying to buy you a gift or organize, like, some surprise party, and I'm trying to, like,
yeah, but there's not lies with the intention of causing harm or of dodging or whatever.
Keeping something from you.
No,
like, that's something different.
That's a surprise party.
Yeah,
there's not
I mean,
lies.
not I think last year about this time we had organized a surprise party for my mother, and we had lied from here to China. We had lied, and by the time when she realized that we there and she didn't expect us to be there, she's like, "Oeh, julle het daarom gelieg. Ek kan julle nie weer trust vir die day and die ander." But it was a 60th surprise birthday party. I think there's something different, but it's not with malice intent. It's for the person's, like, and when I say that, it's like a surprise party. You can't say, I lied this and the other, I kept this information because I didn't want them to find out who their father is or where the funds came from. Meantime, you steal the geld, and now you both are in prison, and the person was using the money with you, but you lied to the person. That's something different. That's malice intent, you know. But
I believe, like, lying because of a birthday party or surprise party, that's not lying. That's just evading the truth for a while until they can must now see. And then afterwards you laugh about it and you say, that day when you saw the thing, I had to say something else because I knew it. And then afterwards the person's like, oh, that's why you guys were dodging the whole time. That's why you didn't want to talk about this in front of me because you're busy doing this. But then it eventually comes out but it comes out in a pleasant way. It's not a situation where I now find this big bill. I'm like, this person was lying about this the whole time. Or I find out that you were cheating. Or I find out that there was someone else on the other side of the line. Those lies are with malice intent. It's not for a surprise party, you know. So for me, to conclude this whole Diddy thing, I was looking at a conversation, and I want to draw this comparison, right? Because if you look at something that, like the Andrew Tate situation where he comes out and says, because he spoke about the Diddy thing as well, and he's like, if I did what they're saying I've done, by now surely there was going to be a video, there was going to be the recording, there was going to be pictures, there was going to be text messages. By now something should have popped up that I'm doing this thing, right? And it's been a year and a half by now, right? But with the Diddy thing, from December to now, we have videos, we have messages, we have people coming forward, we have people who died unexpectedly, and people are asking now, because now they're starting to ask Diddy, they're starting to ask the question, what happened to his ex-wife? Because it's like, she just disappeared also. And it's starting to become a situation where it's like
she's not the only one, though. There's a couple of some of his other associates that just also disappeared or mysteriously died or had some...
Yeah, like mysterious deaths and stuff like that. And the same thing with Biggie and Tupac or whatever. And for years, people speculated, man, P. Diddy knows more than what is giving forward. And those were all those. So I don't know if the lies are going to finally catch up to him, which not even if it's busy catching up to him as we speak, to the point where people are now seeing that, that's he's not legit. He's not who he says he is. And for me, I'm curious to see how this thing plays out. I don't know. Even if for me, there's this thing, right? If you compare, just go back to the Andrew Tate versus P. Diddy thing. If you compare the Andrew Tate versus P. Diddy thing, in the face of public opinion or in the court of public opinion, people like Andrew Tate. They like him. They come with a mindset of they gang up against the guy, they fabricating things against him, they this, they that. So even though Andrew does end up going to jail, even though Andrew does end up serving time, even if they kill Andrew, he'll die a martyr, because in the court of public opinion, the mainstream media is against him, right? Because they don't have evidence, they don't have this, they don't have that. They're just fabricating things at this point. In the court of public opinion, P. Diddy, even if he gets away with it, even if he buys his way through it, even if he pays judges off, even if he pays the police off, even if he finds his way out of this unscathed, in the court of public opinion, people don't like him. People are like, this guy, we saw the video, we know it's true, we hear all the stories, we hear everyone telling us that this is what's going on. So, do you then, even with your money, do you still lose because of the court of public opinion? Because at the end of the day, you're doing this for the public. You want to be famous because you want the people to like you. You want to, have influence because you want the people to like you. So, you can buy a way. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. You can buy a way through it, but the mensen like you niet. Then you can't tronk to, maar die mensen like you. So who gets the longer end of the stick?
Yeah, I think they're on different spectrums, but they still have the same weight on the scale for me personally. Because at the end of the day, do they really have quality of life? I think Andrew Tate has some sort of quality of life, but now and then he must.
But do you have peace of mind? Like Andrew always says, I can sleep at night knowing those people are lying about me. Diddy can get away with it saying that, no, they're lying. But he knows at night when he sleeps, can I throw blue eyes geslaan?
Yeah, but
I get iets in my vrou se tee gegooi. That's why she died.
Yeah, but it doesn't bother him.
But that's my question. Does it really not bother them?
If it bothered him, I think he'd find some sense to not to either stop or remedy the situation, whatever. But because he feels powerful, because he feels like it's in my right to do it, he keeps on doing it, which is why he does what he does.
But is that genuine? Because so many times I used to watch this, I almost got away with it. Remember when I used to watch that, I almost got away with it. And then later on, what then happens is that people say, it was a relief to get caught. I don't know if you've ever heard. Even with these serial killers and whatever, they're like, it was a relief to get caught, because as much as I was getting away with it, it was a burden. It was like, bruh, I know and God knows what I did. So as much as I'm smiling here, acting like nothing happened, I'm dealing with the burden of knowing that I murdered someone. I'm dealing with the burden knowing that I did that. Do you think it doesn't bother people?
If there's a psychological aspect, I don't think so. Because if you look at Dharma it didn't really matter to him whether he was caught or not. He just said, if I wasn't caught, I would have gone on doing whatever I was going to do. But here I am.
He didn't care about anything.
He didn't think, because there was psychological aspects. So for him, there was no remorse.
But if you look at not Dharma, what's that? Ted Bundy says he had remorse. He felt bad. He was happy he got caught. To the point where it's like, okay.
I think he just
now
said
I
that.
Can end.
I think Ted Bundy was a master manipulator, and I just think that he said that so that I can versagting the omstandighede kry. So he could have.
No, but he said that they were about to kill him in the next hour.
Yeah, but it was a matter of
So he wasn't going to get out of it anyway.
Yeah, but he needed to make peace with the fact that, he did what he did. So for him, I think it was just to soothe his own guilt. But had you left him, he would have done whatever. He was just sorry he got caught.
So what do you think, closing thoughts on Diddy? Do you think he's just sorry he got caught?
Yeah, he's just sorry he got caught. I don't think he has any remorse for what he's doing, because he's been doing it for so long. And when you do something for so long, you get away with it all the time, you start thinking, you start becoming pompous, you start becoming arrogant about it, and you start making rubbish mistakes like that. Because in the beginning, he was very subtle about it. There was NDAs in place, there was what. But because he could pay off that person, this person, so over a period of time, he's like, you know what?
Now he doesn't even care that he's doing it in public. Because that was in the public hallway of a hotel. There could have been people walking past.
He doesn't care.
He knows there's cameras in the thing.
Because that's his world. He operates in that world.
So it's not even a situation where it's like, I'm going to keep this in the room. And even now,
he's just saying that too, because he's
you know that situation where they say, I hit you, but I don't hit you in the face, so that the people don't see the blue eye or the what.
They can't really pin it. You
but now later on, he got to the point where, hey, brah, even if your eyes is bleeding, your blue eyes.
It wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, but you
I can just pay
it's not
someone.
Me. I don't know who it is. You get what I'm saying? So when you do something for so long, you become so desensitized to it that it's like, and you become pompous about it. So I think he's there, and it's been years. He's like, oh man. He's out. So, like, he's done that for many years. I don't think it bothers him to that extent now. I think he's tormented. I think he's really tormented by what he does and his desires and his thought processes and what really plagues him, because I think he's really tormented by that, because he has to keep it up. He has to keep it up, and he needs another fix all the time. So by that I do, but his actual actions and having remorse for that, no, it's to satisfy a need.
But for me also, guys, just in my closing thoughts is that if you are finding yourself in a toxic relationship, right? My advice is to seek help. My advice is to speak to someone about it. Maybe you in it so long. If you're hearing your parents telling you, hey, this thing is toxic, your friends are all telling you this thing is toxic. Maybe you're the frog in the water. Maybe you're in the stink room and you don't even realize it's stinking. Maybe someone that walks into the room needs to tell you, hey brah, dit stink hier in die kamer. Maak bietjie 'n venster oop of doen bietjie iets. Because maybe you need to then, if everyone's telling you this, then think about it and look at it from an objective perspective and actually
everyone can't be wrong.
Bruh, everyone can't be saying the same thing and I'm just not seeing anything. No, I fell down the stairs. No, he didn't mean it. No, he said sorry. No, this, no, that. Literally your whole family is telling me, hey, bruh, je wordt geslaan. How many times on these crime and investigation shows do you hear that the girl stayed and then eventually the guy killed her? Where the family
Because if I can't have you, no one can have
even
you.
the family ends up saying later on, we kept telling her this guy is going to end up killing you. And then does it no regtig so. And so for me, and before it gets to that point and before it gets to that level of depravity, I would suggest speak to someone you can trust and say, hey, bruh, I think I'm in a problem situation here. How do I get out here? How do I get now? And I know sometimes you're thinking, now I have to start my life over. This is going to be embarrassing. People are going to look at me. Then you have to weigh the options. Is it worth staying here with being abused? Or do I endure the embarrassment for a month or two? I carry on and I tell my story later, but I know I got out of it and I can sleep at night knowing that I'm okay. Is there any comments there that you want to close off with?
Not really. We just had Fat Kid Music says that they just tuned in, but that was a while back. And then Fabio Khan says that you're talking about that Long Way to Go song. That was Cassie's song. I still don't know. I think, yeah. But anyway, guys, that covers all our sentiments from our side. And if you are in an abusive relationship and if you think there might be some toxic traits, speak to somebody. I'm not saying that accuse the person off the bat about little things or whatever, but speak to somebody and find out, get fresh perspective, because you deserve more.
Guys, thank you so much for watching. See you on the next one. Love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new show.
Xavier used to be my boyfriend, then my fiance, and then my husband, so he's my ex-boyfriend.
We decided that we needed to spice this up.